Hi everyone, we wanted to tell you how much we enjoyed cruising in Mexico this year. We were there for a total of 8 months and we spent 75 days in the country, and we visited the entire Pacific coastline along with some inland travel. We really loved it there, and we came up with a top 10 list.
This is the top 10 things we like best about Mexico. We want to elaborate on each one of them to hopefully share our experience with you.
So the first one is safety. Although you read a lot about Mexico in the news, and most of it is not very good, especially from a US perspective, we felt very safe in Mexico. Mexico has a lot of military. They've got federal police, local police, Navy, Marines, you name it. And they drive around with 50 caliber machine guns on the back of pickup trucks through some of the downtown areas. And at first it's a little unsettling to see the big guns, but after a while you get used to it and you realize that they're really out to make sure that all the tourist areas are very safe. And we never felt threatened or uncomfortable in any way in Mexico with all of our travels. So we highly recommend it. A lot of Americans are in Mexico. A lot of expatriates live there. And it's kind of like those that go and that are in the know aren't worried about it. But
well, and obviously there's places you shouldn't go. And
plenty.
We were always very careful about that, and we researched where we were going and looked at the websites and what the American websites had to say about it. So we tried to be as vigilant as possible, as in any country you should be. Number 2 is the weather. The weather in Mexico has been amazing. We've been there since November. So in the winter it was beautiful and warm and it hardly rained at all. And in the summer you start to get a little bit more of the rain, but the water gets warmer. Anyways, the weather was amazing, which is why people, I think, go to Mexico in the first place.
Number 3, cultural and historic sites. So I read 3 Mexico history books about Baja, about the conquest, and about pre-Columbian Mexican history, the whole thing. So we had a good understanding of what we wanted to see when we got there. But from the pyramids in Teotihuacan, north of Mexico City, to the old town in Mexico City, to Montezuma's temple, to some of the caves and artwork of the early people in Baja, the desert in Baja, the Sea of Cortez, on and on. It is just an absolutely beautiful country with an amazing history.
Number 4 is Sealife. We have cruised about 10,000 miles and spent 4 years in the Caribbean. We saw a lot of sea life, but nothing compared to what we saw in Mexico. It was crazy. We saw whales and seals up in the Sea of Cortez, up in the Baja Peninsula. We saw dolphins like crazy. We've never
By
seen
the thousands.
So many dolphins that we've seen. The fish are amazing. And the seabirds and the boobies that we love to hunt and we finally found. It's
turtles.
It's just the sea life and birds have been amazing. Like really a sight to see.
Number 5, okay, and this could be number 1, the people, okay? The people in Mexico were the friendliest, warmest, family-oriented group of people that we've ever been around. And we've traveled to a lot of countries
yeah.
by boat, by plane, whatever. Maybe 25 countries in total. And we felt the people of Mexico were the warmest, friendliest anywhere. And they love Americans and they love having us visit their country. They love showing us their country. They love showing us their culture, their food, just everything. Right down from the cab drivers who want to give you a tour as they give you a ride,
right,
to the people that looked after the boat when we were gone.
They were all great.
Marina managers, on and on, servers in restaurants, you name it. We never had a bad experience in Mexico. In fact, we had a great experience. So we really loved the people.
Yes.
I'm gonna report on number 6 because it's the food.
Yes.
And that was really important to me because
Yes.
Lenny pretty much just eats salad with grilled chicken.
Right. Which was very good.
Yeah, but the food in Mexico was fantastic, okay? And Mexican food in the United States is not the same as Mexican food in Mexico. I don't know how to explain it, but the way they cook it is healthy and just flavorful. But from the beer to the tortillas to the guacamole to the salsa, which they call pico de gallo, which is on everything everywhere. I think it's even on ice cream.
Probably.
But the food in Mexico was one of my favorite reasons for being there, and it's a big hit for everybody who visits Mexico.
Number 7 is of big importance to people like us, and that is the Marinas in Mexico, because we left the boat several times. How many times?
7 times.
7 times in Mexico, all the way from Cabo up to Sea Cortez and then down the Pacific coast. We have had amazing marinas, really good facilities. Everything was new, everything was well maintained, and the people were great, the staff was helpful, and we always felt really comfortable leaving the boat for a month at a time. So the marinas in Mexico are really top notch.
Number 8 thing we loved about Mexico. Aero Mexico. The airline was fantastic. We flew Aero Mexico on 8 trips back and forth to the States and inside the country. From flight attendants to pilots to airports to clean, beautiful planes. We loved Aero Mexico.
Number 9 is Starbucks. It seemed like everywhere we went in Mexico, there was a Starbucks. The airport, by the way.
Does that seem stupid that that's on our list?
Yeah, but it makes us happy. The airport has like 4 Starbucks.
Or 10.
Yeah, in each terminal.
There are actually 700 Starbucks in Mexico, and
Mexico City looked like Seattle.
Yeah, it looked like Seattle. No, probably more than Seattle.
Every corner had a Starbucks.
So, and the great thing about a company like Starbucks is they're able to recreate the experience everywhere. And dealing with a barista in Mexico City, you might as well have been in Chicago or Manhattan or wherever. Fantastic. And of course, the stores are beautiful. All the quality was the same. So it was kind of like being home, and we're both Starbucks lovers, me for the coffee, her for the green tea. So that was a lot of fun for us.
Yeah.
That's stupid that that's on the list.
I know.
Number 10, the peso is one of our favorite things about Mexico, because you can buy a lot of them with the US dollar. We figured that everything costs between 30 and 40% less in Mexico than it does in the United States. So your dollar goes a long way, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So to go out and have a steak dinner and a good bottle of wine and get a $100 bill versus $150 or $200 or whatever was awesome. And working on the boats, getting the bottom clean, just everything was just 30 to 40% less expensive due to the exchange rate, and that they have cheaper labor in Mexico, as we know. Next, we want to give a shout out to some of the resources that helped us cruise in Mexico. And the first one is for the cruising guides by Heather Bansmere and Sean Breeding. And these were some of the best cruising guides we've used everywhere. Great explanations of where to go, what to do, chartlets that show bays and distances and rocks, and to cruise on an area you have never been. To have a cruising guide just makes it so much easier to explore new areas. Now we have ours and we're done with them. So we are offering the first person to send us an email after watching this video. If you're heading to Mexico and you want these guides, just be the first to send us an email and we're gonna mail them both to you. And lastly, we wanna give another shout out to one of the best resources for cruising Mexico, Pacific Mexico, is to Emily and Mark Fagan. They have a blog called The Road Less Traveled, and they sailed their 44-foot Hunter sailboat called Groovy up and down the Pacific coast of Mexico, all the way from Ensenada off of Baja down to Chiapas at the southern end. And their cruising blog, you can virtually click on any town, any port, any anchorage, and in their website you can hot link to any of it and read about all of it. It was a great addition to our cruising guides, and it covered a lot more information and areas where the cruising guide didn't cover.
Right.
Now they also have, I think, 2 or 3 videos you can buy on Amazon where Emily does a voiceover along with hundreds of pictures explaining all of these areas to cruise. So sometimes it would be nighttime, we'd be pulling into an anchorage and we'd have our laptop open and our satellite on, and we would be reading Emily's notes as we were trying to navigate a harbor. So we feel strongly about that as a resource for you, the Road Less Traveled. So that's it, guys. That's our top 10 list of our tours in Mexico. We loved it. Email and reach out to us and comment if you have any questions.